Welcome to the Wavemakers podcast by Tool. I'm Birgit Liaden, and in each episode, we dive in with bold female founders making waves in ocean and new energies. Let's dive in. Joining me in studio today from Buenos Aires, Argentina, is Daniela Allerbon, founder and CEO of Aquit, biotech solutions for sustainable aquaculture. Daniela and her team are developing preventive treatments for infections in fish that replace antibiotics, improving the survival rates and boosting the natural immunity. Aquit is based across Chile, Argentina, and the US. They have participated in the programs of Bright Tide, Ganesha Lab's BIGinBIO, and Hatch Blue Aquaculture program after winning the Sustainability Award at the 2022 Global Aquaculture Challenge. And Daniela has 15 years of experience as an entrepreneur, 4 of which were devoted to developing and commercializing feed additives, utilizing preclinical trials for human health products. And Daniela, I'm so excited to be back on the screen with you. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Birgit, for having me. It's a pleasure to do this with you, to talk.
Excellent. And can you share, for those that are not in biotech and not familiar with all of the challenges of modern aquaculture and health issues among fish, what is it specifically that Aquit develops?
That's something that my friends keep on asking and my mother and father still don't get, so I'll do my best effort here. But so basically, we identified a protein from the fish, in this case from the salmon. Salmon has lots of proteins that are important to its immunity. And in this case, proteins are like the messengers, they signal, they tell the fish, okay, let's prepare to, in this case, to withstand an infection, but in a smart way. And what we have saw, like when my scientific partners saw, is that the industry was using sort of plant-based additives for feed to prevent infections, and that they were kind of obtaining not the best response possible because they were kind of stimulating too much inflammation. And inflammation in fish is just as inflammation is in us. It's something it's a reaction, like a primitive reaction of the immune system. So they say, okay, why don't we use our knowledge about the immune system in salmon to identify a protein, something from the fish itself, something from nature, and then use it again as a preventive treatment. So they identified this protein, and then using biotechnology, they reproduced it and using fermentation. And once they reproduced it, well, what we've done is we mixed it with the feed of the fish again. And we feed the fish with this product as a preventive treatment. So the fish, well, basically withstands all the health challenges that it has in the sea. Well,
excellent.
And in this case, well, there's no need for antibiotics. They don't get sick.
In a time where we're getting more and more resistant against antibiotics, and we know how much health issues and environmental issues is it with it. I mean, it's so nice to get this kind of very, very concrete explanation for a non-expert. And I wonder, Daniela, because in Tool and building up this community and collective of female change makers, founders and owners, we are really much focused on, the footprint that each of us leaves behind with our work. And I wonder if you can tell me, if you envision yourself sitting in a rocking chair, you've hit, retirement, you are an old and wise lady. If you reach the target that you have with Aquit and your commitment and dedication towards the future, which specific footprint have you left behind? Which contribution is it that your organization have succeeded in delivering to our collective society?
Well, I hope that we are able to reduce dramatically antibiotics in fish farming, and not only in salmon, in shrimp, in tilapia, and also in other, like in chicken. You have made great amazing quantities of antibiotics used in poultry as well. And I hope basically that we can help farmers, animal farming, be more sustainable and take better care of our environments and ourselves. I really struggle with people tell me that they don't eat certain fish because they're not sure what they're eating, where did it came, just for the people to be sure that they can eat healthy without any concern. I think that's also something that now every time I tell what I'm saying, I get from people. And some amazing stories about antibiotic resistance. People that told me that they used antibiotics and that didn't work, and they were in bed for 6 months, for 1 year, and that's terrible. Not being able to have availability of an antibiotic because we're using it in animal farming. It's like sounds like a crime. I hope that um, I can I can help other women see themselves as choosing what they want to do and leading that, and no one having any doubt about their capacity, like the capabilities or their abilities to do anything. And it's something that I really want for my daughter and for all the women that are going to be after me, my granddaughter, if I have them, and I can see them. Yeah.
That is a beautiful picture to envision. And then I wonder, because I know we've been talking before, but I'm so curious to hear what was it that specifically initiated like your personal commitment and the journey to actually become an entrepreneur? Because we know a lot of women don't really start out with this kind of natural feeling that, oh, I'm going to build a company. Very often it comes in, or like more kind of different alternative ways. And then I also wonder if you can share some of your reflections on what you have experienced through your entrepreneurial journey as, some of the biggest challenges or achievements or surprises.
Okay, that's a difficult one. Well, how did I came with the idea? Like, I think that I've always been a person with kind of the necessity to do things and to have agency in things. So I think that that's something that I have that drive, to do. And I always wanted to do something that was impactful and meaningful, and what I've done is reproduce that idea of trying to do something that's impactful. But particularly with Aquits, it was interesting because it was not the traditional path. I had this initiatives, and I had worked on a prebiotic for humans,
Right.
and I was really surprised about how working with this formulation and with biologists all around, from Italy, from the United States, from Argentina, how we made this preclinical trial during COVID with the COVID patients. And it was amazing how this prebiotic that I formulated with other people, like really changed their lives, changed, like improved so many things. Science can, change lives. And after after that experience, it was really amazing for me. Some of them were biologists. So I tried to convince them, okay, we have to do something with this. And they were kind of very academic. They were not, I'm not that into that, I love academy. Just before one of the matches, it was 2021, and she told me that she was a stem cell specialist, like biologist, one of the like most important of Argentina. And she went through this program called Grade X. That's kind of a Tinder for entrepreneurs, like scientific projects and entrepreneurs. But well, that approach to entrepreneurship for me was a really like a surprise, something I had never seen before.
It's so cool. It's like, it's such a story, like from the soccer field and into matching with founders. And well, that's kind of a way of like sliding doors experience. And my next questions is on the door openers, because I think that all of us who tried to do difficult things to change the future, we all need those amazing critical supporters that pay it forward very early, opening doors for us. And I wonder if you can share whether it's generic or more specific people or actors that were those very important early door openers for you?
Well, kind of in terms of what I'm doing with Aquit, you mean
Mm-hmm.
specifically?
Yes.
Well, the first one was GridX that gave us our pre-seed investments
Mm.
and really believed in us. So yeah, for us it was critical. It was a door opener. And after, think, well, an investor that's Marcelo Gabor, that's an angel investor from Chile. He saw my pitch that was a recorded pitch at a demo day. And he saw that pitch and he just decided to help us and to invest right away after watching the pitch. That was something that for me was not only the money, but the someone that feels so kind of connected with what you are doing and really believes in that. And I think that that's something that I feel like I owe that, I thought some, to try to do my best when you see that people believe in you and you are kind of putting the money where they're with what they think. And well, and yeah, and some other experiences I had, even like people, you know, that day was this kind of a serendipity moments. I think like if I'm not, if I believe in something, else I was saying, there was something at the same moment that was happening for me and for Aquit. It was October 2020. I was in Canada, the exact same time zone in Chile. And I had to be in these two events at the same time. I couldn't. It was this demo day. That's why I recorded the pitch. And at the same time, I was pitching for the Responsible Seafood Innovation Award in St. John in Canada. So I had to be there in person pitching and convincing the audience. And we have the public there and the other finalists from the aquaculture industry. And they had these vote in public, like these things that they vote reels. I was like, oh my God, this is so difficult. If I can lose here because like people will tell that I will be really pissed about it. So that was really a test for me, and I won there. And you can tell, like my face was, like winning the World Cup again. My face was. I was so happy, and it's okay. And I didn't know how we've done with the recorded pitch, and I asked my partners that were in the Q&A after, okay, what happened in Chile? Tell me, like we won here, okay? And they told me, and we were also competing for a soft landing in the US there. And they told
Mm.
me we won here too. So
That is a
it was insane. Yeah, it was something that hard to repeat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So you have obviously, as I also mentioned in the introduction, you guys have really gained traction, and I think I mean, people are really excited to follow the journey you're on. And then I wonder if you would like to pinpoint where you are today and for your next stage of scaling Aquit. What is it that you need today? What kind of resources do you need, partners, customers, etc., to grow Aquit onwards?
Okay. Well, we need partners. We need salmon producers interested uh, to try our product and to work with us, to pilot it. We're
Mm.
working that with some salmon producers in Chile, but we want to do it globally. And yeah, and partners that are interested in working with us, in distributing and all what has to do with distribution and even co-development, because we also created AI platform to replicate this same technology with other species. So
Mm.
salmon is the first one, but we already have an MVP for a shrimp product. So
Right.
we are going there. And yeah, basically that. And of course, investors always welcome. Biotech is something that pays well, the great returns that needs time and investments. Yeah, and I'm very grateful to like working with Hatch Blue, and
Yeah.
they invested in our pre-seed extension round, and they're leading that, and it's amazing. And they are providing us with lots of connections, and yeah, I think that they're being amazing with us. Basically, partners and well, people who want to to work with us, and we are very trying to understand the problems in this case of the farmers. I did some shadowing and like went to some farms and try and talk to the veterinarian and to the manager. What are your needs? What do you need to be calmer day to day? Because in the end, it's also trying to understand that.
And to ensure that we can safeguard more healthy fish. And then I wonder, because I mean, our journeys as founders, they are always filled with a crazy mix of challenges and wins and its ups and downs. Are there any specific challenges that you are facing now that you can share with us, and where you think that Tool and our global community and audience can support?
Specific challenges, let's say. Well, I think that next step for us will be scaling up with bioreactors. That's fermentation, basically. So
Mm.
yeah, that's an interesting challenge, and that we have. And I think that the most difficult one is always. Uh, finding someone who believes in the product and the potential of the product and wants to try it. I think that's the core is working on that and scale up. I think that those are the two things that in the salmon product and the shrimp product, of course, like shrimp farms that want to try it and shrimp producers and that are open to these to trying the product basically. I think that there will be another point important for us.
Yeah. So calling out to the salmon and shrimp producers around
Yes.
the world. Yep. That's a challenge we can take up. And then, Daniela, I am very, very curious to hear what you prioritize and share on the next question. Because in Tool, I mean, we work across not just female founders, it's just that we focus extra on the female founders part because we see it as such a untapped potential. There's so many gaps that we think it's time to bridge and support now. Within our mission, we really believe that true strength and the ability to stay through these marathons that building these ventures are, it requires building it through openness, being human, sharing our vulnerabilities. So I wonder if you can choose one specific key challenge in your life. It could be from any aspect and stage of your life where you had to really work hard to overcome it, and where you brought and gained some really essential life hacks and gathered some experiences that you want to share as advice and support towards other founders and women to inspire their journeys.
That's very difficult. It
I
gets
know.
more difficult.
Yeah.
A challenge. Okay. I think that there's something that has to be related with Aquit or any moment of the life.
No, no, that can be anything. It can be like family life, health, or work, or balance. I mean,
Okay.
anything where you feel that you have had to really work hard and where you also learned something that is really worth sharing with others.
Well, I always been kind of this idea structures thing of like studied economics. So I had this plan that I was going to graduate and start working at a company like corporation like Citibank or whatever. 2001 I graduated. Argentina kind of had the biggest crisis in the last 50 years. That's so like 30% of the GDP less, in 1 year, like all people were flying away and from the country. And it was very tough. And at that moment, I was not connected to what I had studied. So I was not clear what I wanted to be by then, if I wanted to be I was not imagining, I couldn't imagine myself at a corporation. I went through all this 3,000, people, and then I passed all the steps. I said, I'm not going to be in here doing a project. I think that was my first project and the one that I put money in. It was, Spencer Tunick, this photographer, that's American photographer that makes these pictures of people naked
Yes.
people. Well, I was the producer in Buenos Aires of the picture. People. So that was my first project, first initiative. in that moment when the country was sinking, literally. And I decided I fall in love at the same time with my partner that's still with me 23 years after that. And I had a ticket to go to London to live because everybody was fleeing away from the country. So I was not clear about my career path. I was not clear, but certainly it was difficult to get a job. And I decided to stay. And he told me that he would help me like find a job. I had a scholarship, like the most prestigious university of Argentina, it didn't matter at the moment. So I was like, okay, I'm staying here. He had a child, a 2.5-year child that now is my assistant at Aquit.
It's a family company.
It's also a family guy. It's the best. I always say like she's the best stepdaughter in the world, and she says like I'm the stepmother in the world because stepmother, has a very very bad
Yeah, yeah,
connotations. It's very hard to say
I
that word.
know. We're evil, right?
And well, that was something that I did a master in cultural management and communication, and I had a path in culture for 10 years working at NGOs, then at the government. It's life changing for me working with the public policy. So I always have that side with me. But that decision was a tough decision to make for me,
I can imagine.
at that age. Then I'm staying with a guy that had a daughter. And I was 24 years old.
So you followed your heart into kind of a high risk and very uncertain path.
Yeah, it's like I think that's something that has to do with me. But if you live in Argentina, you are very used to risk. We are all startup owners in some sense. So yeah, you get used to that. You don't know, like people talk about a dollar, the exchange rate and how much it's going to be tomorrow.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. So you get used to that. It's something that's strange as for other people, or for other countries, for other cultures, even for Chile. My partners are Chilean, and we have very different cultures, like in that time, because they're kind of much more. Well, they're different, basically.
I
So
think probably in this time in history, there will be a lot of other countries that kind of can lean on those experience and, staying resilient, even though it's feeling like you're on this carousel.
you go back, you go back from there, and then again back, but yeah. We feel like you're invincible. It's something in the World Cup, and when I went to the streets, it's something that's one of the moments that you feel like that's so great to be Argentinian. Like everybody,
Yeah.
we were hugging strangers, in the streets.
I've been in Buenos Aires during the World Cup in soccer, so
Like,
yes, I've experienced that. It's insane.
it's insane. It's insane.
And then I wonder because obviously you took like a leap of faith and obviously followed your gut feeling. And I think what I've seen through my life and my career is that following your heart and soul and gut feeling, it still requires that you need others to pay it forward to you. But it's also so important to pay it forwards to others that you meet on the way. So I wonder if you can some examples when you look at it from your role today and Aquit. I mean, you have the need for resources, and at the same time, you also represent really valuable resources for others in the value chain. And when you look at kind of this ecosystem related to fish farming, biotech, etc. Can you give examples as where you could, with your company and work, be a resource towards other entrepreneurs within the supply chain?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I did that yesterday. For example, I try to kind of help other entrepreneurs and specifically women. Yesterday, I went to a Google for Startups workshop with another colleague from the Innovation Park that I'm here and in Buenos Aires, and we'll help her. She haven't raised funds yet, so that's one way in which I'm like, okay, to raise funds, like these are the ones that are more aligned for your startup, and I could you to this person and this other person, and let's plan, and let's strategize together. So I think that I try to do that with the people I have around, and with people that ask me, for example, how was your experience in this or that program. I went through 6 programs, so I consider myself like a program sommelier at this moment.
Yeah.
And well, I know that I can giving just my opinion, my most sincere opinion about deals, helping others. And now another friend from here, it's from another startup, another biotech startup. It's Aquit, is working on her distribution agreement. So also like helping her. Let's read the agreement. Let's see. How can I help you with this, with the clauses? Yeah. So just trying to see how can I advise others, and sometimes when they are not, they had a rough day, and sometimes that happens because it's difficult, and sometimes it feels a little bit lonely, even though you are surrounded with people, some tough decisions or things that you think that you have everything tied and everything, sorted out, and it crumbles.
Mm.
And giving a hug, to one of the founders that I know here. Well, and actually I'm helping now. I'm being a mentor at Nucleate. That's international organization that helps students from the last year of biotechnology universities to build companies. So it's a company builder. So I'm helping a team from the US, Estonia, and Singapore, to work on the company.
Awesome. Those were great examples of the capabilities and how to pay it forward. Thank you. And then I wonder if you would want to mention some female founder or owner that you are inspired by, look up to, that you would like to have featured on the Wavemaker podcast moving ahead.
A startup. I don't know if you can call that a startup, but okay, from the blue economy. Okay.
Yeah. Ocean and new energy. And it can be, it can be social enterprise, commercial startup. Yeah.
Well, Jennifer Bushman. Yeah. I love your energy, how she communicate, how committed she is to what she's doing. I think that she was one of the most inspiring women entrepreneurs I met. Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. We will make sure to reach out to her. And then on the last question, I am focusing on the future, because in the time we're in today, we are really in need of a lot of new talents coming into our industries, bringing in their best brains and ideas and capabilities and resources. And I wonder if you can share your perspectives on what you consider to be the key skills and capabilities and kind of the personal traits for young people entering into the blue economy. And if you have a really good advice for any young talents that are listening in today who wants to get in.
So the first one is flexibility and adaptability. I think that that has to do with working with a startup. In a startup, you have to do, like, you always have to be very agile and to try to think like with a mindset that includes 5 to 10 years, but also like be ready to manage what happens at the moment. So, and be able to change and to understand, that I think that's flexibility is kind of the first one. And the other one would be like, we entrepreneurs are always, or some of the entrepreneurs are more like the ones that come from science, they're kind of are in love with their solution. And well, they have to build the relationship with the customer. And in the end, we are trying to solve a problem also for someone to be sustainable, to be able to grow, because sometimes you have like very clear about what you're doing and the impact, but you have to sell it to someone and have that clear and try to understand all that you can do to simplify and to improve the lives of that customer. I think that's something it's hard to keep in mind.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniela. It was so nice to have you on this episode. It's so valuable to hear your experiences, your story, and I'm extremely excited to follow the journey of you and Aquit moving onwards. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Birgit, for having me.
And to you guys listening in or watching this episode, I hope you have enjoyed it. And stay tuned for a bunch fantastic female founders and owners from all over the world across the ocean and new energy sectors in the Wavemaker podcast on the Word.